See you. Any questions?
Coach, can you talk about Jabril Pepper's versatility and how you balance taking advantage of as many talents but not wearing them out?
You know, I always feel like there's, in football, it's very common to be a two-way player. Normally, that's an offense and a special teams as the two ways, or a defensive player and also a special teams. Jabril, you know, also could be other candidates. Jordan Lewis would be another that could be three-way players, offense, defense, and special teams. Feel like you know, there's around that 90, 95 play, you know, 100 being really high per game. But somewhere in there, there's a sweet spot, depending on the mental capability of the athlete. But in terms of load, you know, the 95, 100 is probably the max that we're looking at right now. Did that answer your question?
Still on your left.
You
coach.
mentioned
Adam on your left, coach.
Jim,
Yeah.
in terms of comparing this season to last year, installation-wise, organization-wise, how much more control, how much more of a hold do you have on it, and is it easier or less tedious?
I don't know about any of those words really come to mind as describing what it is. I think you know you're doing something for the second time. There's advantages to that. Everything that we're doing as a football program, just, you know, with the exception of the new players coming to the team, we're doing for a second time. So there's an advantage there.
Stay on the left here, Joe.
Jim, heading into camp, do you like where your quarterback battle is, or do you wish somebody had really jumped out, seized command earlier?
The last 4 months, really, they've been working with the team, working on their own, and we'll see exactly where that's at starting tomorrow. So I'll defer answering that question till down the road a little bit.
Down in the front right, Steve.
Jim, you mentioned three-way player Jordan Lewis. Are you thinking of giving him a look at receiver, or?
Yeah. In offense, I think there's multiple ways that he could contribute offensively. We know that he can as a returner, hold-up person, gunner, kick and punt returner. He's got those abilities and capabilities, and I believe he has the. Not going too far out on a limb to say that he can help us offensively as well.
One other thing, the upperclassmen have mentioned how competitive these freshmen are, how they really push the envelope. Talk about the personality of your freshman class.
It's been very good reports with the whole team, and guys have commented on how quickly different players are picking things up and how they're performing athletically, et cetera. But they've been just passing comments. You know, we'll really look to when we start practice to start looking at the freshmen, the incoming players, new players, and see if they're tracking. You know, to be starters or backups, contributors, role players. We'll start making all those determinations once practice starts.
Middle right, Nick.
Hey Jim, over here. Is there any other guy you'd like to see if you can play two ways this year, other than Jordan and Jabril? Is there anybody else that you'd like to see what they can do at a different spot?
Yes, there are those I'd like to see be able to do it. Those are the two that jump out right away, and I have some thoughts on a few others that we'll start implementing.
Can you share some names on some guys?
Those Jordan and Jabril are the two that really jump off the roster sheet.
Over to your left, Coach Rachel.
Jim, what is the mentality, the psychology that you want your team to take in your second year as head coach? You know, now that they know you, now that they know the staff, now that they know the expectations.
Attitude, mentality, set their goals high, dream big and realize that all those can be accomplished once the work is realized. And if people are making fun of you for what your dreams are and what your goals are, then you haven't set those goals or dreams high enough.
Front right, Tom.
Jim, can you talk about the offensive line, the development of Grant Newsome, and ability to close games out, maybe pick up a first down late in the game, and how that's going to develop for you?
Yeah, feel good, feel confident the way Grant performed last year as a true freshman. Also, his contribution and performance in spring ball. He gives great effort, has talent. We know him right now as a starting offensive lineman. We'll go into the preseason practices with him at left tackle and Mason Cole at center, and we'll eventually get to our five best. And there's others that are may not be on the first string right now that have the license and the ability to compete and maybe take one of our starting positions away from somebody that's on the line. That'll be the meritocracy of preseason fall camp.
If you have a question, raise your hand. Back here on the left. Georgia.
With, you mentioned the expectations, but the expectations for this team nationally, locally, seeming rising by the day, do you feel compelled at all to address that with your team and not get ahead of yourselves, that type of thing? Is that ever an issue between the coach and your players?
Well, just as you said, I mean, those outside expectations, perceptions, they do rise and fall with the day, sometimes by the hour. So, as I said before, our expectations are going to be very high, and as a coach, my expectations are very high for tomorrow's practice. The meetings, the installations, the drills, and the practice scrimmaging, and the competition. I want that very high expectations for that tomorrow.
Standing in the back.
Jim, I wanted to go back to last weekend. A lot of excitement about the Nike launch and on the street at State Street. Could you describe your view of that energy in that crowd when you're up on the stage, and also describe from your view as a former athlete the Michael Jordan's staying power and his ability to stay relevant as a brand and a pop culture figure so long beyond his playing days?
Well, they do a tremendous job. Jordan Brand, has knocked our socks off, blown us away with just how good they are in all facets. The quality of the product and the hands-on approach. This is important to them that because they know that we're pouring our heart and soul into being good, and I feel like great respect for what the Jordan Brand has put into this in terms of their efforts. State Street was one of those things that again knocked our socks off. I mean, I was dazzled. It felt like a victory celebration. It felt like a championship celebration, and also motivated me personally and other guys that I've talked to on the team and on the staff. Like, let's win a championship and do one of these, shut down State Street, and that's what it felt like. It was awesome. With a capital A.
Directly in front, John.
Coach, what have you liked about John O'Korn since he's been here? And then the same individual question for Wilton Spate since you've had him under your teaching.
Multiple things. I mean, they're two front runners coming out of spring practice, competing for the job. The thing I like about both of them is how important it is to both those young men and players in the competitive situation that they're in, that they're embracing it. I would say that about both Wilton and John.
Jim, You're talking about the Nike thing feeling like a championship celebration. Are you worried at all about your team having too many championship type celebrations before winning a championship? Do you feel like that has to be toned down now, or are you guys from that?
That was a, to me, spur of the moment, that was I wasn't expecting that, I was blown away by it. I wasn't organized by our players.